Chairman, you are.
Let's have Institute of Accountancy training. Are they here? Okay, so you have only one question. Paragraph 131. It's about low student enrollment. Low student enrollment. The auditors have in 2023, their review shows that you have generated only 189,696 Ghana cedis as IGF, and your Government of Ghana allocation is 3.9 million. The auditors says that the institute has 6 conference rooms, which can take about 20 to 80 people, and 5 classrooms with 15 sitting capacity each, as well as 8-room hostel facility, which are underutilized. So if your IGF is only 189,000 and your GOG allocation is 3.9 million, the underutilization raises question about the institute's financial viability and the effective use of government resources. Now, a further inquiry from the acting director of the school revealed that the institute is operating without the necessary legal and academic recognition. They therefore recommended that the Ministry of Finance should conduct a thorough review of the institute programs to align with the current demands in the civil and public service. They also recommended that the institute should implement a robust marketing strategy to raise awareness about the institute programs. This should include targeted campaigns to attract students from the civil and public service and other relevant sectors. Further, the Ministry of Finance should expedite the process of securing necessary legal and academic recognition for the institute to enhance its credibility to attract more diverse student population. What action did you take on this recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to refocus the mandate of the institute, the Ministry of Finance is what's the name? Engaging KPMG as a consultant for the transformation project. The operations, this will involve the project aims to improve operations and service delivery of the institute. The key component of this project is establishing the Ministry of Finance Fiscal Institute, which will train staff on public financial management, debt management, and fiscal policies.
Are you done?
The goal is to enhance staff knowledge and skills, enabling them to perform efficiently and effectively. So far, that is what the ministry is doing.
So the ministry wants to transform the course program of the institute to include fiscal management, debt management, and all that you are talking about.
Yes.
What stage have you reached now in this process?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, as you know, public finance management has become a lot more complicated and sophisticated than it used to be. And unfortunately, we don't have any institution in Ghana that specializes in providing the technical skills and competencies for effective public finance management. And so we've been having issues in terms of our fiscal management, because the skills and competencies training are not even available in the country. And so there's a broader vision to have the institute converted into a fiscal institute. And Mr. Chairman, you know, you are familiar with that conversation, that the Ministry of Finance needs to have a training institution that provides public finance management training, not just for its staff, but for all officers who have anything to do with the management of public finance, including every budget officer in this nation who is assigned to an MMDA at the district level, in every ministry, in every department of the state, even chief executives of SOEs, because what they do is to manage public finance. Currently, we don't have any such training facility, but we cannot just go ahead and do that. And that's why we've engaged KPMG to help us. We did an initial assessment with Pricewaterhouse, but the establishment of the institute itself, we are working with Tony Blair Institute and we are working with KPMG to help us to look at similar institutions across the world. We know that France has one like that. We know Germany has one like that. So the plan is to model the Ministry of Finance's institute along those institutions, global institutions elsewhere. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm not against engaging any private sector institution to come up with this. But we equally have people who have served in the public and civil service for long, and they have rich experiences. Are you trying to look at that and tap on some of them to also assist in that? Because some institution might come with only a private mind, but people who have worked in the government sector, they know the public and civil service transactions, and they can help a lot. Are you tapping into that also?
Yes, Mr. Chair, you are absolutely right. We think that some of our staff who have retired and have even left the ministry have such rich experience that we cannot even allow them to retire. They should be involved in the training of the next generation of public finance officials. And so, yes, we expect to use some of those skill sets that are already available. So, Chairman, let me clarify. Getting the consultant is not for them to provide the training. It's for us to work on the institute itself and the kind of curriculum that we would have. We already have some work that has been done. And you know, that's one of the things I'm quite passionate about. And so there's a lot of work that is going on. And we hope that before the end of the year, we'll see the institutes re-established and rebranded. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's good news to hear. We are waiting to have that materialize.
In fact, we are hoping that Parliament would participate in our training programs as well when it's established. Thank you.
Honorable Mutala.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My understanding of the subsequent question Chairman asked was why we are not utilizing the stock of experienced people we have in those fields, because some of these auditing firms, they can do the work in the prism of just the private sector. But if you had engaged those who have worked with the public sector with that profound experience, one, it would have been less as far as cost is concerned. But if you're engaging KPMG or you're engaging PricewaterhouseCoopers, you are going to spend a lot of money, and you could have done the same good work, maybe perhaps half of what you would have been given to this international auditing firms. So I guess that was what Chairman wanted to know, whether there are plans by government through the Ministry of Finance to be utilizing this domestic, experienced people who have done so much work in such for the ultimate objective of reducing cost.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, just to provide further clarification, what I provided, the explanation I provided was that we are getting assistance from them to establish the institute. However, the plan is to utilize some of the very experienced officers whom we have worked with, who have retired, to provide the training. There are two distinct things. One is getting us to establish the institute to a global level institute, and then the other will be the curriculum and the training and the skills development. Those are two separate things, sir. Thank you.
Chairman, I'm wondering whether, given the fact of underutilization of the facilities at the school, and the fact that these days there are so many accounting institutions that are well equipped, like UPS and all that, will it not be worthwhile to close down that institution and rather train your personnel in some of these well-equipped and established institutions? Because if you look at it, the institutions have been existing since 1970, when there weren't many good accounting and administration institutions around. These days they are bound. And if you spend 3 million or 4 million and you generate less than 200,000, I think you should consider that option too. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I may, I think that there's a difference between the academic curriculum and the practice of public finance. That is the first thing. The second thing is that we do more than, at the Ministry of Finance and the agencies, we do more than accounting. What we do, and I believe that the Chair fully appreciates that, includes public finance managers, starts from planning to budgeting and budget execution, monitoring and evaluation, and to the accounting. And then you have auditing. And as we speak, I joined the ministry over 30 years ago. The functions of the ministry itself has completely changed. I mean, if you take debt management alone, it's become very sophisticated, it's become very complicated. The kind of skill set you need to be part of the team that manages our debt, that is not a skill that is easily available, that you can walk into an academic institution and get trained for. Same with budget. Budget is no longer the very simple budget that it used to be. Now you have to establish a 3-year program with objectives and be able to establish the costing of these programs. Even PIAD, projects and its development and its management, contract management. So the whole PFM system has become quite complicated. There is no institution in Ghana that provides the training that we require. And so having a specialized institution is a requirement for us to improve on our public sector management. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Frida.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I want some clarification here. Looking at the first recommendation, the auditors recommended that the Institute should implement a robust marketing strategy to raise awareness about the Institute's program. They further went ahead to recommend that the ministry should also expedite the process of securing necessary legal academic recognition. Listening to the Chief Director, I want to find out where we can situate the marketing strategy into this whole system, because in the first place, they don't even have the legal backing, they are being underutilized, and you also recommended that they come out with a robust marketing strategy. I want to find out exactly what the auditors meant and what the ministry also doing about the marketing strategy for the Institute. Thank you. To raise more awareness for the Institute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the Institute, because of the lack of legal mandate, we do, what's the name, advertisements on social media and other platforms. We cannot come out and advertise in the mainstream media as a
Yes, so...
Madam, I've not called you, Honorable. No, I haven't. I gave you the first one. The second one, I didn't give it to you. Okay, I'm not giving it to you.
Thank you. Chairman, I want to find out from her whether she can then confirm to this committee that the institute is operating illegally. Because if you are telling me because you don't have the legal backing, you cannot advertise, so you advertise on social media. Is that the only way, the only marketing strategy that you can employ to ensure that you get more people out?
For the Ministry of Finance to work to legalize their assistance. And that is why the ministry have also said that they want to restructure the whole institute, make it more fiscal than only accountancy. And so we only have to encourage them to speed up the process. And as they are doing this restructuring, they should work on the legal status also. Okay. Mutala.
Chairman, I'm coming back to the issue we raised earlier and the response given when you said that the engaging, KPMG or even PricewaterhouseCoopers, those internationally acclaimed accounting firms or auditing firms, domestically. Now, if they have the capacity to work on curricula, I guess they equally have the capacity to establish the institutions. I think the fear of failing has indeed created some of these challenges. We need to have confidence in some of the, if you like, homegrown firms. Let's try, even if we try with some difficulties. If we don't continue that way, we're continuously dependent on this internationally, acclaimed accounting and then auditing firms at a huge cost. So I would suggest that we should have the confidence to try them. That is how those international acclaimed accounting firms and auditing firms, that's how they all began. They tried them with some errors, some challenges, and they continued. Because if you look at the cost involved, and those monies are going to be sent somewhere, they may not necessarily be reinvested in this country. So for me, I think that we need to be looking at how we can have confidence in some of our own homegrown accounting and auditing firms.
Well noted, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
All right, that'll be all for Institute of Accountancy training. And we'll now move to GRA now. Ghana Revenue Authority. So Ghana Statistical Service, Accountancy training, you are discharged. Minister of Finance, you still have to wait for your baby, GRA. So
one of the things that helped
all right, GRA, can you introduce yourselves to the committee?
Good morning to the committee again, Honorable Chair. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning. My name is Julie Essiem, Commissioner General for the Ghana Revenue Authority. And I'm here with my colleagues who will introduce themselves. But before they do, it's always a pleasure to come to this committee. And the GRA is grateful for the opportunity to be present again today. Thank you. So I'll hand over to the Commissioner, Domestic Tax Revenue Division, and then Customs.
Yeah, good morning, Chair. My name is Edward Apinto Jamra, Commissioner in charge of Domestic Tax Revenue Division. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Brigadier General Zibrim Bawa Ayorogo, Commissioner Customs.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Pearl Nana Ama Dago, Commissioner, Support Services Division. Thank you.
You are welcome. Yes, so we'll start with your issues on paragraph 149 of the report. And Honorable Ennis will start.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. GRA, your first issue has to do with institutional debt. The auditors reviewed that about 10 state institutions had tax liabilities from various tax types amounting to $1,247,048,444.99 for the 2022 year of assessment. If you go through the list of 10 state institutions, only ECG managed to pay $1 billion out of their indebtedness of over $1,351,000,000, leaving us with a total of $1,247,000,000. So only ECG out of the 10 made some payment towards their tax indebtedness. The auditors recommended that you take steps to recover all these outstanding balances, then also apply Section 71 of the Revenue Administration Act. What has GRA been able to do so far out of these 10?
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for that question. Chair, you will notice that the bulk of the discussions and the findings that we're going to go through today centers around outstanding debt. As we always say, and my colleague from Domestic Tax will always say, that the work that GRA does in collection of taxes, there will always be an outstanding debt. But I think the fundamental imperative, Honorable Chair, is the processes and the enforcement measures that guides our collections and how timely we engage in those collections. So the Commissioner will go through these findings, which is substantially about 90% of the findings that we have today, and go through the status, the percentage that we've resolved, and also the measures that we've put in place to ensure that we leave nothing on the table. So with your permission, Honorable Chair, let me hand it over to the Commissioner, Domestic Tax Division.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, with respect to institutional debts, the situation hasn't changed. We haven't been able to correct anything in spite of our effort in pursuing this debt. Mr. Chair, let me give you a bit of details of these institutions. We have Tigo Ghana, and we took over Melicom Limited, and they disputed the liability on grounds that they were not reliable. Mr. Chair, after going through the internal recovery process with our assessors, we went to court, and the judgment was made in our favor. The taxpayer appealed against the judgment, and currently, as we speak now, the matter is pending in appeal court. That is the case of Tigo. So we haven't collected anything, Mr. Chair. In the case of PBC, Croco Processing Buying Company, Mr. Chair, they also contested this liability, and later talk about settlement out of court. This issue has been pending for some time, and as I speak with you, the case will be decided by court on the 10th of October 2024. Now, the other outstanding issues, that is totaling 879 million Ghana cedi, is owned by 8 state institutions, which include ECG, Tema Oil Refinery, Prestia Sankofa Gold. Mr. Chair, you remember last year we talked about that. We also have Gihok Distilleries, we have Akoso Motors, then Ghana Airport Company, Ghana Graphic Communication. Mr. Chair, if all these institutions have expressed and are having financial challenges, and as a result, they've not been able to redeem their tax liability to the state. So that is the status of it, Mr. Chair. We've not been able to recover anything from this institution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. One thing I also want to find out is these balances are coming from 2021, because when you look at the statement, these are all opening balances, and you are able to only retrieve for ECG out of credit notes. I believe that is what you owe them that was set off against that. So as of today, I believe that this outstanding indebtedness is over 2 billion, considering tax year 2023 as well. And once we have not been able to recover from the other 8 that you mentioned, what kind of assurances are you going to give to the committee? Because if we have not been able to recover from 2021 to date and we still have 2023 outstanding, what assurances can you give this committee?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, with respect to ECG that you mentioned and some of the institutions, we are engaging Ministry of Finance as to the best way that we can resolve this in the
They are on their own. Okay.
Produced by Company Limited. And now some of the companies,
they are virtually
so. Yeah, Chairman, look at the list. There are some of the companies are 100% owned by the others, like government, and they are virtually there. So I want to recommend that the Ministry of Buying Company Limited and others, right? Some of them, I don't see how we are going to get the money from, and they are virtually there. Some of these companies. So what are other companies that are also viable? That the Ministry of them and they are working, for instance, by the Ghana Airport Company, the government, and I don't see how we are going to get the money from. Why are we not? I want to recommend money from this. That there are other companies. Write off some of these debts, because I don't see how we are going to get the money from some of these companies.
Thank you very much.
There are other companies that are also viable and they are working. For instance, Ghana Airports Company, Graphic Communications Group Limited. So why are we not able to collect our money from these
performing companies? Mr. Chair, we've employed all our tools to collect, but as I indicated, Ghana Airport Company, with respect to write-off, currently having cash flow challenges. They've indicated to us that we need to give them a moratorium to be able to come back for the performing.
Please speak into the mic.
Yeah, so for them, they are employed all our once their cash flow in collect. But as I indicated, thank you, Ghana Airport Company and
what about the ones that in my view, you may never be able to collect. Do you have anything to say about them?
Mr. Chairman, we have done this before. We brought it to Parliament. We went through a process, and then we brought some to Parliament for Parliament to write it off. It becomes necessary.
So for them,
after all other issues to collect, these monies are failed. We will go through that same process and then come to Parliament for permission to do that.
And what about the ones that, in my view, you may never be able to collect? You don't have anything to say about them.
Mr. Chairman, we have done this before. We brought it to Parliament. We went through a process, and then we brought some to Parliament for Parliament to write it.
Every year,
if it becomes necessary,
around this time of
all
the year,
avenues to collect, these monies are failed.
We
We go through that same process and then come to Parliament.
If you have all these things in their book as employees, where do you meet the target?
No, yes, I'm
Thank you.
Come. Is it public interest?
Chairman, thank you.
Honorable Chair,
just want to
Honorable
find
Member, we continue to work very hard on our mandate. Our mandate is not restricted to the institutional debts on the table.
For the year.
If we look at all other avenues of collection, and that is what we pursue every day we come to work. We're very grateful for the question and support. Honorable Chair, Honorable Member.
Next question, paragraph 153. Honorable
to work very hard on our mandate. Our mandate is not restricted
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Institutional debts on the
Paragraph
table.
153, outstanding income taxes.
Look at all other avenues of collection, and that is what we pursue every day we come to work. We're very grateful
A couple
for the
of
question
your
and support.
entities, especially the
Next question,
21
paragraph
domestic
153,
tax
Honorable Kofi
revenue
Adams.
offices within the Greater Accra region.
Thank you very much,
owed
Mr.
a
Chairman.
total amount of 247,613,713
tax to
Ghana cedi 50
income
pesos
tax
and
couple of
1,641,100
your
entities,
US, especially the 21 domestic tax revenue offices,
the LTO
within the Greater Accra region,
amount is there.
owed a total amount of
The recommendation was
47,630,713
the Commissioner Domestic Tax Revenue
Ghana
Division
50 pesos
to ensure
and
that the heads of the tax
1,641,100
centers exercise their powers under the Act to recover outstanding taxes.
They've been
Together
listed
with appropriate penalties under Section 71 of Revenue Administration Act.
there.
You agreed to the auditors
The
that
recommendation
you were going to enforce
for
the debt recovery
the Commissioner
procedures.
Domestic
What
Tax
have you done
Revenue
so far?
Division to ensure that the heads of the tax centers exercise their powers under the Act to recover outstanding taxes, together with appropriate penalties under Section 71 of Revenue Administration Act. You agreed to the auditors that you are going to enforce the debt recovery procedures. What have you done so far?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, with respect to the dollar component of the liability, we fully recovered everything. That is $1,641,100 $85. Then, for the CD component, Mr. Chair, the recovery rate is 85%. And it's as follows. We've done recovery of 525,209.77. Objection determined, I'll explain that, is 1,319,194 and 27.27. Then returns filed and examined 30,061,318 and 50 pesos. Mr. Chair, as we've been explaining, when assessment is raised and taxpayers have they have the right to object to the assessment if they disagree. In this particular case, we had some objections that were still pending. And when we determined the objection, we had the liability of the taxpayer reducing by 1.312 million. Then, for the returns that were examined, filed and examined, as also indicated earlier that our assessment are in two folds. We have the self-assessment, we have the provisional assessment. In the case of the provisional assessment, you will be able to determine the true liability of the taxpayer when the taxpayer files the annual returns. So when the annual return is filed and you do a review, the liability may change, either upwards or downwards. In this case, we had a difference of 13 million, also reducing the liability. So as we speak, we have 37,707,309 Ghana cedi as the outstanding amount. So we've done a recovery of 85%. And Mr. Chair, we are deploying all our enforcement measures to recover the outstanding liability. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the effort, but I just want to find out one issue. At what stage of your tax processes does the taxpayer have a right to challenge the taxes so submitted to him or her to pay? And was this challenge known to you at the time of the audit in relation to the 1-something million you mentioned? For the 30 million fine, they have to file their returns before you would get to know. That understood. But the 1.319 million in relation to that one, at what stage? Was this information known to you at the time of the audit?
Mr. Chair, yes. Once the objection has not been determined, we keep the liability assessment that has been raised and wait till the objection is fully determined. So let me give an example. If an initial assessment has been raised, say 100 cedis, and taxpayer object to it, until the objection is determined, in the books, you keep the 100 cedis until you fully determine the taxpayer's objection. So in this particular case, at the time of the audit, some of the taxpayers have objected to their assessment, and they were going through the objection process. But however, the auditors, because it hasn't been determined, the auditors picked the correct amount, which was correct. Thank you, Chair.
Chairman, I think we can proceed to the next issue. They've done quite well, quite a huge percentage collected, and we encourage them to do the remaining.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Paragraph 157, Honorable Chinia.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. The infraction is value-added tax traders debt involving 21 tax offices and 4,802 taxpayers, and the amount involved is 204,783 cedis, 967.06. Management agreed to recover these liabilities. Have you been able to recover them?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, yes. We've recovered 100% of the dollar component of 182,938.37. That has been fully recovered. The cedi component, Mr. Chair, we've done 78% of it. And as I explained, it also comes in the form of recovery, that is total payments, objection determined, then penalty and interest waived. Mr. Chair, I've explained the recovery and the objection, but let me take the opportunity also to explain the penalty and interest waiver, because this is going to run through all the assessments, the outstanding assessment that we are going to go through. Now, Mr. Chair, for the interest and penalty, Parliament passed a law to exempt, to waive interest and penalty of taxpayers who will pay their outstanding principal for a certain period. So these taxpayers applied and applied to take advantage of this dispensation. At the time of the audit, they didn't finish paying the principal, and yet, hence, the penalty waiver certificate had not been given to them. So once they finish paying, then we have to give them the waiver. So that is what is making up the total recovery of the recovery objection and that of the penalty and waiver. So currently we have outstanding liability of 44,724,049 Ghana cedis, representing about 22% as the outstanding. And again, we are using our enforcement tools to recover this liability. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chairman, I defer to you. I'm done.
So, Mr. Jamra, the 204 million here in the reports includes the penalty and the interest portion, which later were waived because of the advantage they took of the law we passed.
Mr. Chair, yes.
So if you take that one out, how much was the actual before 44 million is still outstanding?
Mr. Chair, out of the 204, we've done recovery of 158, 537, 137. That has been fully recovered. Objection determined is 1,245,819. Then penalty and interest waived 274,960, making up a total of 78% recovery. And that gives us an outstanding of the 44. Thank you, Chair.
All right, so the portion that relates to the amount waived was just a little above 1 million.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Chair, the amount waived is 274 with respect to this particular liability.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the next one. Paragraph 161 is on outstanding pay as we earn, 58.9 million Ghana cedis, and then $1.2 million. So the auditors are saying that about 3,863 employers did not remit pay as we earn deductions amounting to 58.9 million Ghana cedis, $1.2 million to the Commissioner General for the year 2022 year of assessment. The details have been provided on page 56 of the report, where we have LTO, and then the Kimbo sub LTO, Kaneshi TSC. What is a TSC?
Taxpayer services, sir, for all taxpayer center for all under domestic tax revenue division across the country.
So, can we say it's taxpayer service center? Is that a full name? Okay. Now, the auditors recommended that the commissioner DTRD should ensure that the heads of the tax centers exercise their powers under the Act to recover all the outstanding taxes together with appropriate penalties under Section 71 of the Revenue Administration Act. Your response was that management responded that all pay-as-you-earn defaulters will be pursued for recovery of the outstanding taxes. Have you been able to do so?
Mr. Chair, yes. For the dollar component, Mr. Chair, we've recovered 56%. And the reason is that we have one company that is owing the balance, outstanding balance of 544,000. Now, this company, that is Ghana Bauxite Company, has been taken over by a strategic investor. And the strategic investor has proposed to convert this into equity, and the proposal is currently has been submitted to Parliament for consideration. So it's part of the
converting to equity to be owned by our government.
Yes.
If we have not taken a decision, how will the strategic investor decide for us to be part of to be a shareholder? We haven't taken that decision as a country.
Mr. Chairman, as part of the new tax exemptions, and they came under the GIPC strategic investor status, and so they submitted to Parliament last week. We went through the deliberations with the Finance Committee, where they offered a government 3.56% stake in Ghana bauxite to enable them replace it with a $38.6 million of tax waivers. And so it complies with the new Exemptions Act. And so Parliament passed it on Friday. Approved and passed it on Friday.
So we are now at 3.65?
No, the total is 23.56% now. Government owns 23.56% shares in Ghana bauxite currently.
Give me the breakdown. For this particular one, what is equivalent in percentage terms for the amount that you owe here?
The company came with a total amount of about $60 million US. So Ministry of Finance, the company, NGRA sat together, and based on the law, we went through with, as well as the Minerals Commission, and we arrived at 38.6 million, and that is equivalent of 3.56, an additional 3.56 to government. So this was submitted to Parliament. It went through the process, Cabinet, and then to Parliament, and it was referred to the Finance Committee. We met the Finance Committee with the relevant documents. The report was prepared and brought to Parliament.
If I understand,
yes.
The 38 million, is it dollars or Ghana cedis?
Dollars.
The $38 million dollars,
yes,
is the additional 3.56 or 65% the company is giving to government as equity?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And we have already owned 20%?
Yes.
Did we pay for that one too?
It is something government has owed way back, and it is government shares in the Ghana bauxite. Yes,
okay.
Ghana's government's equity. Sorry,
equity in the bauxite company.
Yes, please.
That's the original 20%.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So the 38 million.
Yes.
Is equivalent to only
3.56%. Yes, they did evaluation of Ghana bauxite, and the total amount came to $1,404,000,000, but I'm not. It's not the exact.
Exact. Okay.
And then Ministry of Finance again worked with various stakeholders, and the value was brought to $1 billion. A little over $1 billion US.
Was in operation and yet was unable to pay its tax obligation to us.
Mr. Chairman, I never said that. I said this company applied for the GIPC status of a strategic investor.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. I'm saying that a company valued in excess of $1 billion was in operation, was unable to pay its tax obligation to us. Another company comes in. I'm not blaming you. Another company comes in to take over, as it were. And as part of the takeover, that's assets and liabilities. As part of the liabilities this new entity is taking over, decides to now offload it by way of converting the tax obligation to equity.
Mr. Chairman, what you have in the books are outstanding liabilities. When this company inherited, government granted that and was brought to Parliament, Parliament approved. Yes.
And this takeover is how many years old? How long has been this takeover?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's, let me be very sure and get back, but I think from 2022 or 2021, 2022. So I need to check and get back. Since this is a house of records, I can finish you with the documents. But you were in Parliament on Friday when we took the report.
Yes, that's why I'm surprised. So So let's assume that from 2022, the new entity began operations in 2022, and from the tonnage, the metric tonnage you are given, has government obtained so far for this couple of years that the new entity is in operation?
Mr. Chairman, those basic facts I'll have to, those important facts, I can't go wrong, and so I need to come with my documents to give to you and tell you exactly how much they have paid, if there's any. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you.
So, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, continue.
Yes. For the CD component, the total liability of 58,945,152. We've recovered 50,561,052 Ghana cedi. Then objection determined, I've already explained that amount to 677,517. Then returns filed and examined 1,042,156. So having an outstanding balance of 6,664,427. So the total, the resolve percentage is 89%, Mr. Chair. We are deploying all enforcement tools to retrieve the outstanding balance. Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
All right, that's fine. Let's move on now. Paragraph 165, Honorable Ajay Botin.
Thank you, Chairman. This has to do with outstanding withholding tax. There is a cedi component and then there's a dollar component. And it relates to 1,243 businesses / withholding agents. So the management has sent out demand notices. We want to find out what the current state is. Have we been able to recover those monies?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, the dollar component of $256,449 has been fully recovered. So that is 100% recovery. Now, Mr. Chair, for the CD component, we've done 83% of that. And out of 8,134,668,000, Mr. Chair, again, we are deploying our enforcement action to redeem this liability for the state. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Why are we why are we collecting the dollar index ones? It appears to me that we are finding it easy to retrieve those monies. But when it comes to our own cities, we have challenges.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Very good question. If you realize from the report, these are coming from our large taxpayers. So retrieving them is not too difficult. But when it comes to the TSCs, these liabilities are owned by
Chairman, thank you very much. Jerry, the case of the auditors is that some royalties totaling 73.1 million and US dollars 731,000 plus remain unpaid. In the table provided in paragraph 170, the details are stated. So I won't belabor the point. What's the status of this unpaid royalties?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
And Commissioner, there are so many issues, so keep it brief. Yes, so that you don't get tired.
Chairman, thank you, honorable member. Thank you for your concern. We're working for God and country. So, Mr. Chair, for the dollar component of this one, it's still outstanding. And it's, Mr. Chair, it's part of the outstanding liability for Ghana bauxite, which Honorable Minister of State has explained. The CD component, we've recovered 91%. The outstanding that is out of the 73,142,520, we've recovered 69,159,569. The outstanding balance is also part of the debt of Ghana bauxite and greenstone quarry. And if the Ghana bauxite has been explained, in the case of greenstone, they are contesting the liability, and currently it is under objection. Mr. Chair, that is the status now. But okay. The percentage recovery is 91%. Thank you.
Yes, that's what I want to commend you for. 91% collection so far is good. Take steps to collect those that are not in contention, and then also take steps to expedite the adjudicatory process on those that is being contested, so that we can know their fate. Chairman, that will be all.
Paragraph 172, Honorable Amakwata.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Yeah, generally, the reported lapse here has to do with unpaid communication service charge, amounting to a little over 7.2 million, and it involves almost exactly 10 service provided, and is listed in the table straightforward. This was captured by the auditors. What is the situation now?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, we've recovered 61%, and it's as follows. Recovery 1,149,824. Then penalties and interest waived 3,246,478 Ghana cedi. We have outstanding liability of 2,853,000. And Mr. Chair, this out of this outstanding liability, one is owed by Selfline Communication, and this company has written to the authority of their temporary suspension of operation. We've done field office and a field visit, and we have confirmed that indeed the taxpayer is not currently operating. So that is the status of Selfline liability, and is making it difficult to retrieve this liability. The other outstanding, which is 642, is owed by two companies, that is Television Africa Limited and Assemblies of God Television Limited. These companies are members of Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, and they have petitioned the authority and stating that their members are not reliable to the communication and service tax. So the matter has dragged on. We've had series of discussion. As we speak now, what we've done is we've escalated the case to our legal department and asking them for direction. So that is the status of the CST outstanding liability, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, it looks as if you have made great effort to recover the liabilities, but the portion that is outstanding, as you have indicated, it looks as if you have a lot of problems correcting them. Can you tell this committee whether there are prospects of correction, or you think the all of us risk, these debts running into bad debt. Is there any hope for BRA to recover them as you did in the first instance?
Mr. Chair, we haven't given up yet. We are pursuing the liability. And we hope to correct the liability using all the tools available to the Commissioner General. Thank you.
Okay, then we encourage you to do well in that direction. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next one, paragraph 175, Honorable Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 175 has to do with rent tax. Please, Commissioner, can you tell the committee the recovery rate?
Mr. Chair, we've done 88%. Out of 1,403,700, we've recovered 1,231,023. We have outstanding balance of 172,676,000. Mr. Chair, let me say that out of this, our review indicates that 94 out of the outstanding liability has been converted into owner-occupied. So it's no longer a rental property. So this, we have to write off this. So we have what is to be recovered stands at 78,000, and we deploying all enforcement actions to collect that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner, I think I have to recommend you for doing this work. For rent tax, it's not easy to collect. Well done. I'm done.
Thank you for the compliment.
Next one, paragraph 178, Honorable Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. This paragraph has to do with corporate income tax defaulters. Per auditor's review of taxpayers' file, it showed that as of 30th September 2023, 77 companies owed corporate tax amount of 831,848.46 Ghana cedis. And it was recommended to the area director to ensure that the office manager takes appropriate steps, including legal action, to retrieve this tax amount. Please, can you give us the update?
Mr. Chair, as we speak now, out of 831,848 Ghana cedi 46 pesos, we've recovered 258,603 Ghana cedis, 7 pesos. That sum up to 30%. Mr. Chair, let me say that out of the outstanding balance of 573, we have some taxpayers who have stopped doing business. I think we indicated to this house that when it has to do with rural taxation, we have a lot of challenges with the debtors. So you raise liability because we use the provisional assessment. You go next time the person has relocated or he has changed, he has moved, resolved business or relocated. So as a result, it's making collection of rural tax a bit difficult when we use the self-assessment approach. However, the outstanding balance the outstanding balance for those who are currently operating, we are employing our enforcement tools to recover that for the state. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This means that not even 50% of the tax amount have been recovered.
Actually, that's correct, and I think I've explained that that's the challenge we have with the rural tax collection when you are using provisional assessment as the means of raising the assessment on them.
This is the status now. Thank you.
So, Mr. Jamina, the challenges you are having at this sector, is there any strategy that is being developed or you are thinking of to